Welcome to ABC General Hospital Spoilers, The Return of Luke Spencer. A character legacy continues beyond Anthony Geary's passing. The shocking truth about Luke Spencer's future on General Hospital. In recent developments that have shaken the entire daytime television community, the legendary actor Anthony Geary, who portrayed the iconic Luke Spencer on ABC's General Hospital for nearly 4 decades, has passed away at the age of 78 on December 14, 2025, following complications from a surgical procedure in Amsterdam, where he had retired to live with his husband Claudio Gama. What makes this moment particularly significant for General Hospital fans is the emerging narrative surrounding Luke Spencer's potential return to the canvas and the possibility of recasting the character with a new actor, a storyline that has been building momentum within the show's writing team under executive producer Frank Valentini. The death of Anthony Geary marks the end of an era for General Hospital, yet the character of Luke Spencer continues to occupy a crucial role in the mythology and future direction of Port Charles. For decades, Luke has served as the emotional and dramatic core of the show, and despite his on-screen death in a cable car accident in Austria announced in 2022, there has been persistent speculation among devoted fans and industry insiders that the character may not actually be deceased. This speculation has intensified as new storylines involving Luke's children, particularly his daughter Lulu Spencer, currently portrayed by Alexa Havens, have created the perfect narrative opportunity for his unexpected return. Anthony Geary's legendary 37-year run as Luke Spencer. Anthony Geary's journey with General Hospital began in November 1978 when he was cast as Luke Spencer in what was originally intended to be just a 13-week storyline for the struggling soap opera. However, Geary's portrayal of the streetwise, morally complex anti-hero character captivated audiences in ways that nobody could have predicted, transforming General Hospital from a show on the brink of cancellation into a ratings juggernaut that would dominate daytime television for decades to come. Under the visionary guidance of legendary producer Gloria Monty, who specifically created the character with Geary in mind, Luke Spencer evolved into one of the most compelling and multifaceted characters in television history. The breakthrough moment in Luke's storyline came when he fell in love with Laura Weber Collins, portrayed by the talented Jeannie Francis. The romantic pairing between Luke and Laura, which began in 1979 with a controversial sequence that was later reframed in their narrative, became the most iconic super couple in soap opera history. Their wedding episode on November 16, 1981, drew an astonishing 30 million viewers, making it the most watched soap opera episode in television history. This momentous occasion was made even more legendary by the appearance of Hollywood icon Elizabeth Taylor as the villain Helena Casadini, who had been orchestrating obstacles to their relationship. Throughout his tenure on General Hospital, Geary earned an impressive 8 Daytime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series, a record that stands as a testament to the extraordinary quality of his performance. Geary left the show in 1984, but returned in 1991 in a storyline where he played Bill Eckert, Luke's lookalike cousin, a character that did not resonate with audiences. This led to Geary's return as Luke Spencer himself in 1993, solidifying his connection to the role for the remainder of his time with the show, despite his initial resistance to being defined solely by the character of Luke. Geary eventually came to understand the profound impact Luke Spencer had on daytime television and the lives of millions of fans around the world. Geary's final appearance as Luke on General Hospital aired on July 27, 2015, during an emotional and deeply personal farewell episode in which Luke said goodbye to his family and the residents of Port Charles. This touching episode, which dealt with Luke's struggle to overcome the psychological trauma caused by his childhood, has been selected by General Hospital to re-air on New Year's Day 2026 as a tribute to Geary's extraordinary legacy. The episode showcased Geary's exceptional acting prowess as he brought depth and vulnerability to a character who had spent decades battling his inner demons while simultaneously protecting those he loved. The mystery of Luke's off-screen death and the possibility of his return. Although Anthony Geary's final appearance on General Hospital aired in 2015, the character of Luke Spencer did not officially die from the show's perspective until 2022, when Tracy Quartermain appeared on Laura's doorstep with the shocking revelation that Luke had been killed in a cable car accident in Austria, an accident that was allegedly orchestrated by the villainous Victor Casadini. This death notification came 7 years after Luke left Port Charles, raising numerous questions among devoted fans and speculation about whether the show's writing team would ever find a way to bring the character back under different circumstances. However, in a moment that seemed to defy the odds, Luke Spencer appeared briefly in 2017 at a cafe in Amsterdam, where he shared a silent encounter with Tracy, a scene that suggested he was very much alive and living in the Dutch capital, just as Geary himself had relocated to Amsterdam. This appearance created a narrative gap that has provided the perfect opportunity for the show's creative team to explore the possibility that Luke's death in Austria may not have been as permanent as everyone believed. The February 2025 spoiler reports from the IMDb network have suggested that Lulu Spencer may soon discover that her father Luke is still alive, a revelation that would come at a particularly significant moment in the show's timeline, with Lulu currently portrayed by Alexa Havens following a recent recasting, and with her character facing a serious health crisis requiring a liver transplant. The potential discovery that Luke is alive opens up compelling narrative possibilities that could provide both emotional depth and family drama that the show has been lacking. The spoilers indicate that Lucky Spencer, portrayed by Jonathan Jackson, has explained to Lulu that their father was killed in the cable car accident and his body was recovered. Yet the absence of on-screen confirmation of Luke's death creates room for the narrative twist that he may have survived. Frank Valentini's vision for Luke's return and the search for a new actor. While Anthony Geary's passing has fundamentally changed the circumstances surrounding Luke Spencer's future on General Hospital, the character's story does not necessarily end with Geary's death. Executive producer Frank Valentini, who has been at the helm of General Hospital's creative direction, has been known to revisit beloved characters and reimagine their storylines in ways that honor both the character's legacy and the show's long history. The recent pattern of character recasting on General Hospital, including the temporary recasting of Lucky Spencer with Guy Wilson when Jonathan Jackson needed time away from filming, demonstrates that the show is willing to bring in new performers to continue beloved character arcs. The prospect of recasting Luke Spencer with a different actor would represent a significant and unprecedented move in General Hospital's history. While the show has experimented with recasting before, the replacement of such an iconic character would require delicate handling to ensure that the character's complex history and emotional weight are properly respected. The writers and producers would need to find an actor capable of embodying Luke's streetwise charm, his capacity for dramatic intensity, and his fundamental decency beneath the surface of a character who has operated in morally gray areas throughout his tenure on the show. The narrative framework for Luke's return has already been established through years of careful storytelling that has left open the possibility of his survival. The cable car accident in Austria, as described in the show, was orchestrated by Victor Casadini, a character known for elaborate schemes and deception. The fact that Lulu discovered a skeleton with an earring and wristband similar to Luke's, only to have a DNA test prove it was not actually Luke, created the perfect plot device that allows for Luke to resurface at any moment with a compelling explanation for his prolonged absence. The impact of Geary's death on the show's direction. Anthony Geary's unexpected passing has created a poignant moment of reflection for the General Hospital family and for millions of devoted fans who have followed Luke Spencer's journey for decades. Frank Valentini issued a statement expressing that the entire General Hospital family is heartbroken over the loss, describing Geary as a brilliant actor who set the bar that the show continues to strive for. Valentini emphasized that Luke Spencer's legacy will live on through the generations of General Hospital cast members who have followed in his footsteps and have been influenced by Geary's exceptional portrayal of the character. The show's decision to re-air Luke's farewell episode on New Year's Day 2026 serves as both a tribute to Geary's extraordinary career and an opportunity to remind audiences of the depth and emotional range that Geary brought to the character throughout his time with the show. This special presentation will allow viewers to experience the full scope of Luke's character arc as it concluded in 2015, showcasing the vulnerability and humanity that characterized his final days in Port Charles. Despite Geary's passing, the character of Luke Spencer remains woven into the fabric of General Hospital's narrative world. His influence continues through his children Lucky and Lulu, through his romantic connections with Laura, Tracy, and other significant characters, and through the countless storylines that have been shaped by his actions and decisions over the years. The possibility of Luke's return through recasting represents a way for the show to honor both Geary's legacy and the character's enduring significance in the world of Port Charles. What this means for the future of General Hospital. As General Hospital moves forward in the wake of Anthony Geary's death, the show faces an unprecedented situation regarding the future of one of its most iconic characters. The narrative framework is in place for Luke's return, with Lulu's health crisis creating the perfect opportunity for a revelation that could transform Port Charles once again. The creative team at General Hospital has proven their ability to navigate complex character transitions and recasting situations in respectful and compelling ways, as demonstrated by their handling of other legacy character departures and returns. The search for an actor to portray Luke Spencer in a potential return would likely focus on finding someone capable of capturing the essential qualities that made the character so compelling: the roguish charm, the underlying decency, the capacity for dramatic intensity, and the ability to convey both the humor and pathos that Geary brought to the role. This would be an actor who understands the significance of the role and the responsibility of stepping into the shoes of a character that has meant so much to so many people over the decades. The timing of Geary's death, just as stories involving Luke's family are reaching critical junctures, has added an extra layer of poignancy to the question of Luke's fate. Whether General Hospital ultimately decides to bring back Luke Spencer through recasting or to allow the character to rest in the legacy that Geary created remains to be seen. However, the foundation has been laid, the narrative door has been left open, and the character's impact on the show's mythology is indelible, ensuring that Luke Spencer will remain a central figure in General Hospital's ongoing story for generations to come. Next, we will learn about the explosive romantic entanglement brewing between Lulu Spencer, Dante Falconeri, and the recently returned Nathan West that threatens to tear apart friendships and reshape the entire landscape of Port Charles relationships in ways no one could have predicted. The complicated dance between former lovers, Lulu Spencer and Dante Falconeri, have been navigating the treacherous waters of co-parenting with surprising grace lately, and if you've been paying close attention to their recent interactions, you'll notice something subtle yet significant shifting in their dynamic. They've managed to establish a rhythm that works for their children, putting aside the turbulent history that once defined their passionate relationship. The pair have shared several tender moments in recent weeks, stolen glances across crowded rooms, and brief touches that linger just a second too long to be purely platonic. 7 months ago, in a moment of raw vulnerability that left viewers reaching for tissues, both Lulu and Dante opened their hearts and admitted the truth neither could deny: they still love each other deeply. The confession hung in the air between them like a promise unfulfilled, weighted with years of shared history, broken dreams, and the kind of love that doesn't simply vanish because circumstances become complicated. However, that same conversation revealed an uncomfortable reality that both had to face. Love alone wasn't enough to bridge the chasm that had formed between them. Too many unresolved feelings, too much hurt, Too many obstacles stood in their way, creating an insurmountable barrier that prevented them from taking that leap back into each other's arms. But here's the thing about time: it has a remarkable way of healing wounds we once thought would never close. Danny's heart, which had grown cold and guarded after everything they'd been through, might have finally begun to thaw. The walls he built to protect himself from further pain could be crumbling, brick by brick, especially as he watches Lulu rebuild her life with grace and determination. Yet while Dante was processing his feelings and allowing his heart to potentially open again, Lulu wasn't sitting idle, pining away for a reconciliation that might never come. A new chapter with an old friend. Enter Nathan West, the handsome detective who has unexpectedly walked back into Lulu's world at precisely the moment when she needed someone to lean on. Nathan's return to Port Charles has been nothing short of miraculous, and his presence has stirred up emotions and complications that nobody saw coming. The chemistry between Nathan and Lulu has been undeniable, crackling with an energy that's impossible to ignore, and their growing closeness hasn't gone unnoticed by those watching closely. The situation becomes infinitely more complex when you consider one crucial detail: Nathan happens to be married to Maxie Jones, who also happens to be Lulu's best friend. Maxie currently lies in a medically induced coma, fighting for her life in a hospital bed while completely unaware that her husband and best friend are developing feelings that extend far beyond simple friendship. The ethical implications are staggering, the potential for heartbreak astronomical, and the moral complications enough to make anyone's head spin. It's practically guaranteed that when Maxie eventually wakes from this coma, and medical miracles do happen in Port Charles, she's going to have very strong opinions about any romantic development between her husband and her closest confidant. Maxie has never been one to shy away from expressing her feelings, and discovering that Nathan and Lulu have grown close in her absence could devastate her in ways that might be irreparable. The betrayal would cut deep, striking at the very foundation of their friendship and potentially destroying bonds that have withstood years of trials and tribulations. Danny's moral compass points north. Then there's Dante Falconeri, who has built quite a reputation in Port Charles for being the moral arbiter of everyone's decisions and life choices. If there's one thing we can count on, it's Dante stepping forward to judge the moral fabric of those around him, often with a self-righteous certainty that can be both admirable and infuriating in equal measure. Should Lulu fall for Nathan, her best friend's husband, no less Dante would undoubtedly have plenty to say about it, and none of it would be gentle or understanding. The irony is that for once, Dante wouldn't be far off the mark in his assessment. Falling for Nathan, while Maxie lies helpless and vulnerable in a coma, would be morally questionable at best. And Lulu herself probably recognizes this uncomfortable truth even as her heart pulls her in Nathan's direction. She's a good person at her core, someone who values friendship and loyalty, yet she's also human, capable of developing feelings she didn't plan for and doesn't necessarily want. To lost souls finding each other, all the signs point toward Nathan and Lulu heading into territory that extends far beyond the boundaries of a solid, supportive friendship. Both of them are essentially lost souls trying to find their footing in a world that has shifted dramatically beneath their feet. Lulu is still adjusting to life after spending for long years trapped in a coma, waking up to discover that time marched on without her, that her children grew older, that relationships evolved and changed in her absence. The disorientation and sense of displacement she feels is profound, and she's working every day to piece together who she is in this new reality. Nathan, meanwhile, has his own temporal crisis to grapple with. 7 years of his life essentially vanished, erased from his memory, leaving him with massive gaps in his understanding of who he became during that time. He's wandering through his own life like a stranger in a familiar land, trying to reconnect with pieces of himself that feel foreign and distant. Both of them might be ready to move forward with their lives, to embrace new possibilities and write new chapters. But there's one significant complication. Maxie's life is currently on pause. Holiday feelings and family traditions. Spending Christmas with Dante and the children might stir up dust profound old feelings for Lulu, especially with all the kids gathered under one roof, engaged in the timeless tradition of trimming the tree together. The scene will likely be picture perfect, filled with laughter and holiday magic, the kind of moment that reminds you of what family means and what you've lost. For Lulu, watching Dante interact with their children, seeing the family unit they once formed now fractured and reformed, could trigger a wave of nostalgia and longing that's impossible to ignore. However, despite these occasional emotional stirrings, the truth is that Lulu has been more of a strict co-parent with Dante than anything resembling romantic partners or even close friends. They hardly even act like friends these days, maintaining a professional distance that feels safe but also somewhat cold. Their interactions are cordial, efficient, focused entirely on the children's needs and schedules, but lacking the warmth and intimacy that once characterized their relationship. Nathan steps into the spotlight. Instead of Dante being the person Lulu turns to in moments of crisis or uncertainty, it's been Nathan who has consistently shown up in her corner lately, offering support and understanding when she needs it most. This shift in dynamic has been gradual but unmistakable, and nowhere has it been more apparent than in how Nathan has helped Lulu navigate the incredibly stressful situation involving Charlotte Casadini. With Valentine Casadini on the loose, dangerous, and unpredictable, Lulu has been consumed with worry about her daughter's safety and well-being. Nathan has been there every step of the way, providing not just professional police protection, but also emotional support that goes beyond the call of duty. He's been working overtime to put Lulu's anxiety at ease, reassuring her when panic threatens to overwhelm her, strategizing about how to keep Charlotte safe, and simply being present in a way that makes Lulu feel less alone in facing this nightmare scenario. Detective West appears to be working full-time lately at the job of protecting and comforting Lulu, and his dedication hasn't gone unnoticed by Lulu or by anyone else paying attention. As Dante gradually becomes less of a North Star in Lulu's life story, less of the central figure around which her world revolves, it naturally creates space for someone else to step into that pivotal role. Nathan seems poised to fill that vacuum, and the question that looms large is how this growing connection will carry over into the new year and beyond. The return of Maxie Jones. When Kirsten Storms made the announcement that she would be temporarily stepping away from General Hospital to focus on getting settled after relocating with her daughter to Tennessee, she also shared the encouraging news that fans shouldn't worry she would be returning to the show in early 2026. This timeline means that Maxie's awakening from her coma could happen rather soon, possibly within the next few weeks or months. And if Nathan and Lulu have indeed fallen for each other by that point, the fallout could be absolutely cataclysmic. Picture the scene. Maxie opens her eyes after weeks or months of darkness, expecting to find her loving husband waiting faithfully by her bedside, only to discover that he's developed deep feelings for her best friend. The sense of betrayal would be crushing, the emotional devastation complete. Everything she believed about her relationships and the people she trusted most would be called into question, and the pain of that discovery might be worse than any physical injury she sustained. Damian Spinelli, ever the devoted and worried partner, has been consumed with fear that Maxie won't survive this medical crisis. His anxiety has been palpable as he maintains his vigil, hoping and praying for her recovery while simultaneously dreading what might happen if she does wake up. His greatest fear that Maxie will regain consciousness and immediately choose Nathan, gravitating back toward her husband and leaving Spinelli alone, and heartbroken might actually come to pass. Perhaps she will make that choice. Perhaps her first instinct upon waking will be to reach for Nathan and recommit to their marriage. The ultimate heartbreak. But here's the devastating twist that could shatter Maxie's world. Even if she does choose Nathan, that doesn't necessarily mean Nathan will choose her in return. What if, by the time Maxie wakes up, Nathan's heart already belongs to someone else? What if the connection he's formed with Lulu has grown so strong, so meaningful, that he can't simply set it aside and pretend it never happened? The possibility of Maxie waking up to discover not only that her husband has fallen for her best friend, but also that he chooses Lulu over her would be the ultimate betrayal, a triple blow that could destroy her completely. The year 2026 is shaping up to deliver a world of hurt for everyone involved in this complicated romantic quadrangle. Lulu will be torn between her growing feelings for Nathan and her loyalty to Maxie. Nathan will face an impossible choice between honoring his marriage vows and following his heart toward new love. Dante will likely insert himself into the drama with judgments and opinions nobody asked for, but everyone will have to hear. Spinelli will be left picking up the pieces of his own broken heart. And Maxie, poor Maxie, could wake up to discover that the life she remembers and the people she trusted have all changed beyond recognition. The stage is set for explosive confrontations, tearful admissions, and relationship-ending revelations that will reshape the entire social fabric of Port Charles. Stay tuned, friends, because this story is only beginning, and the emotional devastation ahead promises to be unforgettable.